Assignment 55 is the last of the assignments in module number 7. And this one will be another one that you're going to do in your drawing book. Unless you have home access to Illustrator, you have to do this one in the drawing book. If you do have Illustrator, you have my permission to use it for this assignment, given that we've just gone through and done the type illustration and envelope projects, but you can't just pick a simple object and do a straight up envelope distort. You're going to have to do some more character manipulation closer to what you did for the type illustration assignment. So do go with that approach if you're planning on going the Illustrator route. Now, for this assignment, as with the onomatopoetic one, you cannot depend on extra stuff to make this one work. The basic idea is that you're going to pick a word that has a visual element to it, and there are certain ones that are just too challenging to do because they get skinny. So there's overly thin parts that might not work out as well, but you're going to take a word and you're going to make that word look like what it is. The examples that are shown here are, of course, guitar, tiara, wing, donut, and banana. Donut is the least readable because, of course, a donut is circular and it's really hard to know where the word stops and starts. The rest of them aren't bad. And if you'll notice, for every single one of them, the outline of the original object is gone. That is a requirement of this. When you are finished, your letter forms themselves need to be in the shape that collectively describes roughly your object, but they can't be connected. So that original object outline that you started with has to go away. So the steps that are recommended for this are that you, excuse me, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then move it around until we can see what we're doing. So you're going to start with the outline shape of whatever your object is. You're then going to start to put the middle letters in, and it's really important that you start from the middle because otherwise you are going to run out of room before you get to the end of the character. And your spacing's going to be off and you're really going to fight with it. And do this lightly in pencil because usually you're going to have to go back and make some corrections. But if you see here with the word guitar, they've got it sort of nicely spaced out. They then thicken the outlines of the letters and they erase away the little connectors that fall beneath or between the letters. So if you wanted to do the word bottle, if you were to run the bottle in a direction that's very similar to what's going on with the guitar here, you could do the same thing with like a water bottle shape or something along those lines. Or, I don't know, there's almost any object you can think of you can do this with. But just remember, it can't be a word with stuff stuck on the end of it, and that stuff stuck on the end is what makes it look like what it is. If you were to try carrot, and you actually made the carrot letters into a carrot shape, and then you wanted to stick some greenery on the end, that's fine. But the carrot shape is carrying the message. The greenery is just a nice little detail, and that's the same kind of thing they did here with tiara. The little dots and stars are the extra stuff, but the letter forms are the ones that are actually forming the crown or the tiara shape. Now, in all the examples that are shown here, they've gone through and they've added color to them. The color is nice, but at the very minimum, you have to go around and outline darkly the shape. And if you want to go and color it in as well, that's okay. This needs to narrowly fill a page of your drawing book. It needs to be, again, at a minimum, pencil and something like Sharpie or really dark pencil on the outline. It doesn't need to look rough. It needs to look like you've spent some time on it. And the same thing is true if you're going into Illustrator, which is why I'm saying you can't just use an envelope distort. You're going to have to probably go in and do some additional modification in order to make it work. And pick your original form carefully. So the approach that's shown here is very appropriate, where you start with obviously your concept and your basic outline, and then you fit the letters to it. And so what you're turning in as your final version on this one is a complete page of the drawing book with an item that you've chosen to develop as essentially a text illustration again. So hopefully that gives you enough information to work on the assignments. I'm going to turn each one of these, or rather set up a Dropbox for each one of these assignments in Blackboard. They're not there yet, but you will have one for each of these assignments. And the approach I would take for all of these is do the work on paper for the majority of them, take a picture with your camera phone and upload that picture to the individual assignment area. You can absolutely do it more towards the end of the time window, or you can turn them in one at a time as you complete them. Since this one is a little bit different, meaning the module is a little bit different, since you're not just turning in the drawing book to me at the end, your timing on submission is up to you.